initiative unfolded. I also like to welcome Dr. Ranjita, Professor Hamid, and Dr. Manohara, who are going to review the project for us at the moment. And most importantly, I'd like to pay tribute and remember and welcome our 3 successive project leaders. So Mahesh Gatala, who was the first project leader in the early phase of SRFSI, and Mahesh is the person who taught me everything I ever needed to know about conservation agriculture. So he's played an enormous role in the research and the science about conservation agriculture in irrigated and rice-based systems. Dr. T.P. Tiwari was a key project leader at the juncture of the activities going from research and technical investigation into dissemination of knowledge through capacity building of diverse stakeholders. And so welcome, TP, to see how the whole thing unfolds. And finally, of course, Brendan Brown, who has done so much in the last couple of years and is organizing this final review. I also want to reflect on the long investment of ACIAR on conservation agriculture topics. We had work for about 20 years in the western side of India. And so it was an interesting decision about 10 years ago to actually explore the opportunities in the eastern side of India. We had the rice maize project started in about 2008 in Bangladesh, which was one of the foundation of this work. Then we had John Dixon commissioning this particular work. And of course, with the policy changes in the west of India around crop residue, stubble burning, and issues of water management, excessive water use, all the stuff that makes conservation agriculture more topical than ever. SRFSI is bringing the eastern side of India up to scratch on the same topic and is likely to have a faster impact because of those changes. And so the project we are going to finally review and conclude in the last 3 days with some bittersweet feeling about, because it's always sad to finish something that's been so successful, but also we need to recognize that there is such thing as successful research and it's proper to close at some stage. But that project has been the foundation of a much broader program of work on the Sustainable Development Investment Portfolio that was funded by the Australian Foreign Affairs Portfolio. And so it's very timely that we review that foundational project, and then in a couple of weeks, we'll review the whole program, being much better informed by having considered this foundation. So thanks everyone for attending and helping us discover and remember and analyze all the successes, challenges, and remaining gaps in the field that we are interested in. And I'm very much looking forward to the next 3 days. Thank you, Brendan.
Thank you very much, Eric, for your opening remarks. Now we'll move on to Dr. Timothy Krupnick, who is a strategic lead for CIMMYT in South Asia. Tim?
Hi, good morning, and thank you, everybody, and special thanks to Brendan for asking me to make a few remarks I want to thank and recognize Eric and the numerous colleagues who are on this call. It's very good to be here. Brendan, when I heard you say a decade ago, I got goosebumps and was kind of amazed to reflect and suddenly realize that we've been working collectively on SRFSI and a range of similar projects for a decade now. And I think what makes SRFSI unique was the range of important partnerships that it brought, and particularly that it brought multiple CGIAR centers together with a range of advanced research institutions and universities, as well as a range of non-governmental organizations and the private sector working on the ground to accelerate the research to impact continuum that we wish to see from the work that CGIAR does globally, as well as in South Asia. As many of you know, SRFSI is also closely related in many ways to another project that is near and dear to my heart, which is the Serial Systems Initiative for South Asia, or CISA, that has been kindly supported by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and also USAID. Many of the concepts and ideas that these two projects have worked on together are ones that have allowed us to co-learn and support each other in doing this very important work. But whereas many of the locations that CISA had worked in were geographically constrained, SRFSI enabled an expansion of work on a range of topics such as zero tillage, conservation agriculture, and most importantly, rural services provision and entrepreneurship to different geographies that we could not easily work in, given some of the constraints with funding that came from other major and important donors. By operating these projects as a portfolio, we not only encouraged co-learning, but we were able to expand our work to new areas and see much wider impact. And most importantly, also, I think that SRFSI should be recognized for its very strong and very innovative approach to using massive online courses and videos such as Brendan just showed for raising awareness and doing very strong due diligence around capacity development, and also being able to speak to multiple audiences and targeting capacity development materials, ideas, and innovations to policymakers, extension agents, service providers, and farmers, specifically based upon their needs. Moreover, I want to recognize the excellent scientific rigor and documentation that SRFSI has brought in terms of peer-reviewed publications, data sets, but also doing very challenging and difficult work to understand the complex adoption processes associated with rural entrepreneurship and service provision and agricultural machinery in each of the countries that SRFSI has been working in. This is perhaps one of the things that sets SRFSI as being very unique, in that the approach to understanding adoption and adaptation patterns for machinery and conservation agriculture-based practices has been truly rigorous and unique, and brought new methods and approaches to the field that were not previously utilized in South Asia. With that, I will conclude, and I wish to thank everybody for taking your time for being in today's event and the subsequent day's event. It will be very rich learning. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you very much, Tim, for your opening remarks as well. Finally, to open the meeting, I'd like to ask Dr. Manahara Kadka, sorry if I got your name incorrect before, Manahara,
Yes.
to open on behalf of the reviewers.
Yes. Thank you, Brendan. Hello, everyone, respected sir and madam. Very good morning and namaste from Kathmandu. Thank you for the opportunity to say a few words on behalf of reviewer. So I start by introducing ourselves, we reviewer, and also some sort of expectation we want to learn more during the discussion, 3-day discussion of this when celebrating SRFSI. So I would like to, we are 3 members. Thank to ACIAR for giving us the opportunity to be part of this very important project in phase evaluation. So I would like to introduce Professor Abdul Hamid. He's from Agrarian Research Foundation, Bangladesh. Professor Hamid is the former Vice Chancellor of Bangladesh Agricultural University, a senior respected expert on Bangladesh farming system, and also their opportunity and innovation. He has a long experience and very reputed credibility, research, and academic career. So I would like to introduce second colleague, Dr. Ranjita Puskar, who is from International Rice Research Institute, ED. She's a ED country rep for India, and also research leader for gender and livelihood. Puskar is an accomplished professor in agriculture research for development with more than 20 years experience, post experience from Asia, Africa, Pacific region, with focus on technical institutional innovation for addressing food security, nutrition poverty to result in equitable, sustainable development outcome. Myself, my name is Manohara Kadka. As Brendan said, I'm a country representative for International Water Management Institute. By background, I'm a social science, applied natural resource management with focus on policy governance, gender inclusion is my area of expertise. So we are very much excited to learn and also learn from this 3-day exercise, as review is really based on the literature and text-based documentation, review of the documentation, other repository we have. We're very much impressed by the project effort, as Tim also said, project effort on capacity building as a pathway to CASI civilization for adoption and scaling of CASI is very impressive. We are very much amazed with the scientific publication and data set, and also knowledge product that establish an evidence base that conservation agriculture based sustainable intensification really is viable in this Eastern Gangetic Plain. So basically, we read a lot of things from project report, and we got a lot of insight. We like to have a bit of more knowing about this project. Basically, few things we like to learn more from the discussion. For example, first interest is the project implementation. Having said that there is a COVID induced a bit of delay, suspension of some activity in last year. What was the adaptation of these processes of the project? Second is that country-specific opportunity and challenge for scaling CASI technology in the Eastern Gangetic region, because we see that there is an adaptation progresses outcome varies across the project, the location. So there are differences. We will also like to know a bit of more policy, sustainable point of view, policy and institutional environment are the key to sustainable scaling of the technology that were proven and also adapted. We found that progress and outcome in terms of creating enabling environment differ between the project location. As an example, significant progress outcome in West Bengal. CASI included in government guidelines scheme mandated requirement for at least 3 CASI machine in CHS, Custom Hiring Center. How did this difference become possible in West Bengal and not in other contexts? This kind of reflection would really help us. And second is that some locations have strong institutional platform and structure, which is very important for institutionalization of CASI technology, while others don't have. So what lessons have been learned in terms of sustainable functioning of this institutional body or platform that really support scaling technology, the CASI technology, and also agri-mechanization? Third dimension, a bit of we like to hear and learn more is that gender dimension of scaling, agri-mechanization and CASI technology, because we learned that project has invested a lot, much effort on capacity building, training, field exercise. What are the project intervention started to understand gender beyond the quantitative? We see the quantitative data is very much pertinent there. So just number of women are presented. Is it only the number of women to show in the progress? What effort project did made in terms of measuring women empowerment? We have a very successful approach strategy in terms of empowering women in terms of technology and also technology adoption. What are the has project has considered any intersectionality beyond the counting women or not? So would be very much interested learning about these questions. So at the last, more learning would be on a bit of field-based and presentation. From that, we want to learn more on linkages of CASI technology to market and agriculture value chain. We see there are much import on market value chain, but what does it mean in terms of linkages between CASI technology and the sustainable marketing and business model? So these are some of the questions we would like to learn more about, beside the other thing also, as we all are celebrating success of this survey and also looking forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Manohara. And I'm hoping that the program will be able to cover everything that you've brought up there, and particularly as we have our discussion sessions there as well, where if reviewers have specific queries, please do bring them up so we can answer all of the detail that you're seeking. Thanks so much to Eric, Tim, and Manohara for opening our final meeting. I think we'll pull out the SRFSI ceremonial bell from purchased by Peter Brown 2 years ago, and we'll ring it and say that we've opened the meeting. Now with that, we do have about 60 people on the call at the moment, but we'll see how we go. I think it's important because